What is up, guys, and welcome to the private video on the 28th. I wanted to make this video because, as I was doing my research, or as I was starting to research the Celo ecosystem, I realized that, there's a lot of alpha to be had. And when I say alpha, the way I define alpha is just like having information before the market does, right? Because if you know something before the market does, then you can front run them and then sell into them once people take notice. I guess like a simple test to determine how early we are is just by going to YouTube and looking up like crypto avalanche or something, right? Because I'm obviously one of the YouTubers that's been, saying bullish things about avalanche, but so has everyone else, like at this point, right? There's Coin Bureau, I think there's LEO trades right here, right? So as much as I'm bullish on the avalanche ecosystem, like we are no longer early, right? Early was like before they start talking about it, right? Because then you can front run additional eyeballs, additional liquidity, etc. But if you look at crypto Celo, there's literally zero content. Drake on Digital has a few videos on it. I think he's a pretty good YouTuber, so I encourage everyone to subscribe to him. But there's no one big is talking about it, which means that retail investors aren't really taking notice. I'll explain later in the video like why I think it's interesting, but yeah, I do think this YouTube test that I talk about could be a good indicator of how early you are. And I saw this tweet from the Coin Bureau, and full disclosure, I actually like Coin Bureau. I think he's one of the better YouTubers given like how big his channel is. He's very objective. He gives like thoughtful analysis, and like he's actually a good YouTuber. But he made this post looking into Celo, as I have never done a video on it. So even though I'm not bullish, I'm not that bullish the Celo ecosystem, and maybe you're not that bullish the Celo ecosystem as well. Maybe if you kind of understood it, right, given the information out there available, and like maybe front running his video, like maybe that's like enough alpha that you can have, right? Because this Twitter post doesn't mean that he's gonna make a video. It doesn't mean that he's gonna make a video anytime soon. But I just wanted to share this because as much as great a YouTuber Coin Bureau is, he does move markets, right? Because like a lot of people look up to him for news and like I guess like information on like new ecosystems and whatnot. So just I think it's early alpha. Full disclosure, like I mentioned, like I don't fully understand it that well, but I just want to go over why I think Celo should be an ecosystem that you should be aware of because they have liquidity mining incentives coming. So that being said, let's go over to the video where I go over the ecosystem. All right, so let's discuss the Celo network because when I first heard about this $100 million incentive program, I kind of brushed it off, saying that like, okay, it's just another EVM clone. They say they're mobile first, but how bullish can we potentially be on like a mobile first DeFi platform? And because there was Avalanche Rush, there was the Phantom Foundation, and as well as the Harmony program, I was like, like I don't really care about the Celo program right now, but I will look into it later. And upon doing more research, it's really interesting, right? And also, like disclaimer, I'm like 5 days into the research for the Celo network, so consider this video to be like the introduction to Celo, right? Because there are some things that I don't fully understand yet. So, but I think I understand it enough to make a video on it. And you can like essentially be the judge whether or not this ecosystem is interesting to you. So, in terms of tokenomics, Celo is the gas token, right? The native gas token. However, it has similar tokenomics to that of Luna. So if you understand like how Luna works, is that if there's demand for USD, right? If a bunch of people want USD and let's say it goes over peg, then anyone can be an arbitrager and burn $1 worth of Luna to mint 1 USD. So as long as this market cap of USD is going up, you can expect the price of Luna to also trend up with over time. And Luna is a $15 billion protocol, and USD is approaching $3 billion in market cap. Similarly, Celo and the Celo dollar are like similarly related, right? Where as long as demand for Celo dollar is going up, anyone can take $1 worth of Celo, put it into the Celo Reserve to mint 1 cUSD. And as you can see, then because the price of Celo dollar is over peg right now, anyone can technically do this. So how this reserve works, it's kind of complicated, but it's they have this video called the Stability Protocol. It has 400 views, so like that kind of shows how early we are in terms of like understanding this protocol. But the easiest way to understand it is like in the Terra ecosystem, you burn Luna, right, to mint USD. But for Celo, you put $1 worth of Celo into the Celo Reserve. So you can kind of think of the Celo dollar as being backed by this reserve that has similar tokenomics to Luna, where it works like a CNURJ system. And right now, this reserve is mostly comprised of Celo, some Bitcoin, some ETH, and some DAI. You can see like how much like dollars worth there exists, right? And it's like heavily over collateralized because right, there's like close to $1 billion worth of Celo reserves, right? Like 900 million, whereas the Celo dollar is 985 million, right? So it's like 10% of the reserve is like the market cap of the cUSD. So you know, just understand it conceptually, right? Just consider this to be the introductory video. Also, it's really interesting because if you look at the backers of Celo, they're backed by pretty reputable players. And they have Andreessen Horowitz, Polychain, Coinbase, Social Capital, which is like Chamath Palihapitiya, Reid Hoffman, the founder of Netflix. They have T-Mobile. They have Naval and Jack Dorsey. I think this is the only crypto like project that Jack Dorsey has backed outside of Bitcoin, obviously. So they have the capital, they have the resources. So it's something that, you know, we really should not ignore. Also, if you go to the website, they say like mobile first, right? They have this app called Valora. I have it downloaded on my phone. I don't know if you can see it. It's like right next to the Chipotle app. But essentially, it's like a Venmo where I can just send money to any phone number. You can see here, Valora Digital Wallet. They have 1,000 ratings, which is like pretty impressive actually. Where, you know, if you give me your phone number, I can send money to you, and for you to claim that, like let's say $20, I send $20 to you. For you to claim $20, you have to download the app, verify your phone number, and claim it, right? So this is a phone app, and this actually integrates with like some decentralized applications like Ubeswap, SushiSwap, etc. So they're trying to be like a, you know, Venmo, like a payments application that also integrates with DeFi applications, right? Which is interesting. Going to the Humble Farmer RV overview, we see that, you know, at the bottom, near the bottom, I have the section on Celo. And previously, I had the DYOR tag, Do Your Own Research tag, on Ubeswap and Moola Market. However, upon further research, I feel comfortable enough to remove DYOR on these protocols. So, no, I'll touch on them both, but essentially the reason I took them off is because they're backed by the Celo team. Like, not like they're not made by the Celo team, but the $100 million liquidity mining program, some of it is going into Moola and some of it is going to Ubeswap. So one of the ways I determine if a protocol is safe enough for me to deploy capital is, you know, if the foundation is giving like money to, I guess, these protocols, you can assume that they've done their due diligence, they've like audited, I guess, the code, the project, to make sure that it's not going to rug. So, you know, that's one of the reasons, like, that's why I felt confident enough to put a lot of money on Benki, right, on Avalanche, because Ava Labs backed it with their own money. So let's go into Ubeswap. I might need to connect to the Celo network here. Let me do that real quick. And just refresh. So it's a standard Uniswap clone. It's like nothing is like that crazy. And they have liquidity mining programs. And the cool thing about Ubeswap that I found was that the founder of Ubeswap is Ian McAleenau, right? Hopefully I say that right. He's the founder of Ube, and he's also a key contributor to Saber. What is Saber? Well, it's only a DeFi application on Solana with almost 3 billion in TVL. So, you know, definitely a talented developer who created Ubeswap, which is interesting. And he's fully doxed. A bunch of the team members that build on Celo is doxed, so that's one of the good signs. And right now they have triple reward pools where, you know, some pools are rewarded with 3 tokens: Celo, Mu, Ube. Mu is the token for Moola. You see here, and there's double rewards too, like Mobius, Ube, Celo, Ube, etc. Okay, so that's Ubeswap. I'll talk about these pools in more detail later, but let's jump into, I guess, what Moola is, right? So let me just go to the decentralized application here. All right, so it's a money market, it's a lending and borrowing protocol, and similar to cUSD being backed by the Reserve, the same works for cEUR, right? So this is also backed by the Celo Reserve. But if you deposit your cEUR here, you can earn like 1% APY. If you deposit cUSD, you can earn 3% APY, right? Okay. And the cool thing is when you deposit assets into Moola, right? So let's, for example, say cUSD. What you get in return is mcUSD. It's similar to AUSD on Anchor, where it's when you deposit, let's say, $1,000 worth of cUSD into Moola, you get $1,000 worth of mcUSD, which is a claim on your assets on Moola protocol. They kind of go over it here in the Moola launches DeFi for the people with triple rewards, where mcUSD is an interest-bearing version of the CELO dollar, and mcEUR is an interesting-bearing version of the euro. And both the CELO dollar and the CELO euro is hyper over collateralized, so it does track the price of these two assets. And going back to the Ubeswap, you see that the mcUSD-mcEUR pool, which is essentially like a stable swap, right? Because sure, the price of euros and price of dollars kind of fluctuate, but I mean, they're like currencies, right? They're not going to go up that much in advance. So you can kind of assume that this has almost zero impermanent loss. And the combined APR here is 71%. So essentially, for a stable swap pool, you can earn 71%, right, on this position if you stake it, paid in CELO, Mu, and Ube. And keep in mind, mcUSD and mcEUR are interest-bearing tokens. So, on top of that, you're earning 1% on euros and 3% on cUSD, which isn't that much, but, it's something to consider. So at the date of recording, like roughly 75%, right? It kind of alters here, but essentially that. mCELO is similar, where if you deposit CELO here, it's not paying anything because I guess no one's really borrowing it, but maybe Moola will get additional liquidity mining rewards from the CELO Foundation, where you're going to be paid to deposit CELO, cUSD, cEUR, etc. Hopefully that gives like a good overview of farms. Moola isn't like that great of a farm, but if you can deposit cUSD and cEUR here and put it here, you can earn 75% on dollars, right? Which is not that bad. And Moola is the governance token for Moola Markets, and you can earn almost 200% on that. I'll touch on Mobius later, but there it is. Lastly, I'll go over PoolTogether. So this is essentially like a no-loss lottery. They also have CELO rewards. Essentially, you can deposit cUSD here and earn 30% paid in CELO, right? So this is a way for you to, I guess, earn yield on your dollars, and you're also entered in like a no-loss lottery. If you want to do more research on PoolTogether, please do it on your own time. But right now, the liquidity mining programs that are up and running is for Ubeswap, Moola, and PoolTogether. Lastly, I'll touch on Mobius. Okay, hold on, let me refresh here. I kind of think of this as like the saber / curve of the CELO network, where if you deposit stable pairs like USDC, Bitcoin, ETH, you get these like incredibly high APRs. I've kind of heard mixed feelings about how safe this thing is. I mean, I heard from some people that the team is legit, but I also heard from some people that like their code is like not transparent, so it's kind of shady. So you have to do your own research. If you go back to the Humble Farmer overview, I do the DYOR tag here, but I mean the rates are pretty insane, right? So I have to do more work on this, but this could be a pretty good place to park your ETH or Bitcoin to, I guess, farm Mobius tokens. So there's that. Lastly, I kind of want to go over like, I guess, the tokens. Let's just go over Ubeswap first. Let me just refresh to get the most up-to-date data. Okay, so Ubeswap, the market cap is 42 million. And of course, it's an inflationary token. Because, I mean, it's a farm token, right? And me personally, I'm not that interested in this because if you look at the market cap of SpookySwap, which I've often talked about how bullish I am on this, and XBOO, it's at like not even a 2x from the market cap of Ube. This might mean that either SpookySwap is really, really undervalued, or maybe Ubeswap is really overvalued. So for that reason, I'm not that interested in this Ubeswap token, and just because of the relative valuation to SpookySwap. And in terms of the Moola market, let me just also refresh here. $1.95. Total supply is 100 million, so the fully diluted value is pretty high. It's like 195 million. However, there's like no information on like the circulating supply. So I feel like I would consider this to be like a similar token to the key token, right? where even if this protocol locks up a bunch of TVL, is the token going to be bullish? Like, not sure, right? And you can look at the tokenomics on this, right? And it's not really clear like what the circulating supply is. I'm not going to blame the team on this. I'm just going to say that we're like really early into the CELO network or the CELO ecosystem, so it is what it is. So the only protocols that I feel fine endorsing, I guess, is Ubeswap and Moola, because they're receiving liquidity mining programs from the CELO Foundation. Mobius has really high APRs, but you got to do your own research. Hopefully, I can do more research, maybe talk to the team and like take this off. But in the meantime, I'm gonna leave this on. So hopefully that was a good overview of the CELO network, CELO ecosystem. It's interesting, right? The CELO dollar, because I often say that I think Luna has the best tokenomics in all of crypto because of like how it works, how it like interacts with UST. But like I said, like Terra $15 billion market cap with $3 billion of the UST, CELO $2 billion market cap with $85 million worth of CELO dollar. I'm not really sure how I feel about the valuation. The CELO has a higher market cap than Harmony, right? Which is kind of concerning. So for that reason, I'm not too interested in deploying capital into the CELO ecosystem. However, I think if you want like a stable coin farm, right? Like mcUSD-mcEUR, like this is going to be a really good one. I think this is going to last like maybe a little over 2 more months. So if you want to feel risk off or something, I think this is a pretty good pool to invest in. In terms of bridging, there's the optics bridge over here, right? I heard mixed feelings about this bridge too. So if me personally, if I'm going to bridge over to the CELO ecosystem, I'll be using a centralized exchange like Binance or Coinbase, because they offer direct withdrawals to these ecosystems. So hopefully that was useful. Thank you guys for watching, and have a good one.